Will the Wi-Fi mesh support be supported in the AP1 Enterprise APs? Yes, those are 11 AC capable, so the answer is yes, they get mesh. But can APs mesh with PEPWave routers with integrated Wi-Fi too, or just other PEPWave APs? The answer is yes to that question, so long as that PEPWave router has 11 AC Wi-Fi in it or better. So again, the Soho Mark III, the Balance 20X, those are good examples of PEPWave or PEPLink routers that have integrated Wi-Fi that do support the mesh feature. BR1 Mini would be an example of a product that does not support the mesh feature. That's just 11N on the BR1 Mini. Another good one to point out on routers that support mesh is the Transit Duo. That's got the 11 AC Wi-Fi in it as well. So another good choice for Wi-Fi mesh. Another question, does choosing mesh frequency disable clients from connecting on that frequency? In our implementation, no. Sometimes vendors do that. We allow one radio to simultaneously serve both purposes. So again, it might be a little bit counterintuitive to use the same radio for both versus one for clients and one for meshing. But again, with just the overall much larger spectrum on 5 gigahertz, that's usually going to net a better result regardless. But if you mesh on 5 gigahertz, you can definitely only allow clients to connect on 2.4, but it's really your choice to allow that to share both purposes or not. And meshing with SSIDs, the SSID side is really not directly related to the mesh. The mesh is just your backbone to that access point. So each access point can have different SSIDs on it if you want, or if you use the controller to manage that, or just manually program it, they can all have the same SSID and they'll behave, they'll behave just like a wired access point would if users roam from one to the other. See another question, can an AP connected over mesh have wired clients plugged into it and be able to access various networks? I've done it in a real simple test. I've had a device plugged into the Ethernet port of a wirelessly meshed access point, and I've been able to pass the untagged VLAN through. I believe it's a true layer 2 connection, so VLAN tags should pass as well for other SSIDs. I just can't say that I've personally tested that out yet, but you should have that capability as well. I see a question about Wi-Fi mesh and using like an all-in-one antenna for cellular and GPS. So a lot of people use, for obvious reasons, the all-in-one style antennas like our Puma 401 or Puma 42 or 221, so that they can get one single antenna punched through a wall, punched through a ceiling, something like that. Not have to have a whole bunch of different punches through whatever surface they're mounting to. And so, if you're putting it really just depends on where your other mesh Wi-Fi access points are. If you're running that all-in-one antenna outside, then you've got all your Wi-Fi antennas outside and up, somewhere conceivably. And so if you're meshing to other devices that are outside, to other buildings, things like that, that would work great. If you're trying to mesh to other things that are inside the building, then you're just going to have much less signal in that situation. So then you would want to look at maybe splitting that all-in-one into maybe using the paddle antennas for the Wi-Fi and only using cellular and GPS on the exterior. But just lots to consider there in terms of antenna configurations when you're trying to combine mesh and cellular or Wi-Fi and cellular into the same antenna. It's really just all about placement at the end of it. I see a question, what benefit is mesh if you have all of your access points wired? There is no benefit, frankly, unless you're going to need to make one of those access points wireless. So that really is the rule of mesh. That is absolutely my policy. If you can run Ethernet to it without headache and you expect it to run all day, every day, 24/7 with lots of users, I would wire it. Mesh is great. Mesh gives you tons of flexibility, and it helps you solve those problems that you can't solve with a wire. But if you can get a wire there, do it. It will work better long-term for you. There's just so many variables in wireless that plugging it in over Ethernet is always the better choice if that's a practical one.